tough game last night. I didn't see that one coming because of how we played. I thought we had a really good practice on Monday. We had a really good practice Tuesday. Had a really good shoot around on Wednesday. Our chemistry was great, and we just did not play well. You got to give Tulsa full credit. They were the aggressor. They had the hit first mentality, and as poorly as we played the first half, we were still within striking distance, and then we just went in a major scoring drought that second half, and we weren't able to recover from that. They once again some of our live ball turnovers really got us, and they capitalized off of our live ball turnovers, and they also capitalized off of second chance points. That's where those two areas they really got us. So you got to give Tulsa total credit, and they are a very good team. And but again, that's one game, and we got another tough game on Saturday versus Tulane on the road. So we're going to have to obviously play better. We can't allow this to linger, and have any of the blame game or feel sorry for ourselves or woe is me syndrome. We got to be ready to go and try to get a win on Saturday.
Does it concern you that there seems to be a pattern with these road games when they go out of control? Like when it goes bad, it goes really bad. And what do you do to try to address that going forward?
Matt, you're right about that. That some of the times on some of our losses on the road in the last couple of years where it's just kind of gone bad, it's gone bad. I think part of it's every time we've had that we've had major scoring droughts in those time periods. Major scoring droughts. Second thing is it could be a possibility of where, because we're just in a stretch where we're not playing well, maybe even for myself, maybe I'm subbing too much, because you're trying to find the right combination. Trying to find the five guys that can get you out of it. And through that time, maybe you're just trying to, find the right five. So maybe that's it too. So obviously I have to take responsibility for that. But I do know on the court wise, we just, all those times when we've zeroed in and really analyzed it, it's just, we just don't score. We just have major trouble scoring during those time periods. And for whatever reason, I don't know why we just go in those major droughts of not scoring. Maybe sometimes I feel like our guys sometimes feel maybe we try to get a 10 or 12 point shot when you got to really give up some good shots to get a great shot, especially when a team's on a run to eliminate the run. And but part of those runs, when that happens, if you really zero in on it, which have and studied it from the last few years, is we've had a lot of live ball turnovers in those runs that just don't allow you to set up in defense. So it's a coming down, and maybe we get picked. Our pocket gets picked there on the dribble, and he goes for a layup, or we throw a cross court pass and it's stolen, and it's a 3-on-1 fast break dunk, and it's little things like that all result into the extension of the run, the crowd going crazy, giving the opponent extra life and energy, during that time period.
Coach, one positive, you all did make a run in the second half. What happened? How were you all able to do that? Why couldn't you off?
Yeah, I will say for this year, for the couple of times where we've been down, we've really always have bounced back. I think that's been definitely an improvement for us from last year, maybe the years before, where it would just kind of avalanche, but we have made runs back. And I thought we were going to keep making the run. We missed that free throw line box out that they recovered on, but. I just thought it was one of those things where basketball is a game of runs, and they had that run in that second half where we just went on a major drought scoring wise, and then we made a run, but obviously it was a little too late.
You think this team has turned the corner, and that last night was just a setback, or are you still in the process of trying to turn the corner?
Jason, we're definitely way better than we've been earlier in the year. We've had total improvement. I'm just hoping last night was a clunker. And you got to give Tulsa credit, so I'm not taking anything away from Tulsa at all. But I didn't see it coming. Like I would have had I'd probably feel better if we had bad practices, and I just knew that, man, this is going to be a tough one. But we had great practices, great shooting around. Energy was great. I think our guys, the chemistry was great. We just was just one of those things, and we just did not play well. And so I'm hoping we bounce back the right way on Saturday. And to answer your question, I think that'll be a better test. I think that'll be a better answer to your question is how we come out on Saturday. Win or lose, how we come out and play do we play the right way? Are we the aggressor? Are we the hit first mentality type team? I think that'll be a better answer to your question.
I know you hate losing, period, but it seems like some of these games this year, like the one last night, you hadn't lost in Tulsa since 1971. So, of course, people are playing that up, around the city. Does that make it harder when these streaks like that are coming to an end in such a emphatic way?
I don't, I don't, this is 2015, and all that stuff doesn't matter. This isn't the 80s or 90s. People just, it's very normal for fans to fans and or media to remember some of those times. But it was a different time period back in the 80s, 90s, when you're talking all the certain kids went to certain programs because they had all the TV packages. There was only a certain teams could go to the Final Four. Basically, I mean, it was going to be it's totally a different time period. Everyone's on television. Kids now these days, good players. I mean, Tulsa's good. I mean, look, we played Tulsa 2 years ago. We won here, I think, by like 50. It was basically the same team. I mean, we could have won by 50. I know I subbed everyone out in the last like 8 minutes. Then at Tulsa or in the conference tournament, it was a closer game. But I said in the meetings this year, they're going to be really good because I knew they were so young. Danny Manning was grooming them to be, for this type of run, and they're really good. So my point is they signed good players back at that time period. Coach Manning did, and they're good enough to play anywhere. But they chose to play at Tulsa. That point is that it doesn't matter the rankings anymore. It's not about what school and the name of the jersey. Everyone's on television. You can go to the NBA from any school. Anyone can win the national championship. So the talent is spread all throughout, and it's just a different time period. So it's not like what it was in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. It's totally different, new on everything. And if you don't come to play and you don't play at a high level, you're going to lose the game. I mean, that's just how it is. You've got to be really good, especially on the road. And if not, you have a good chance of losing the game. And that's just how it is in college basketball all throughout the country. Maybe one or two teams can just show up and not play well and probably win, but the 360 other teams have to, you got to bring it.
So you played Tulane about 2 weeks ago then. What can you take from that game to carry over to Saturday?
Well, there's some things, obviously, that we'll have to do better on against Tulane, Matt, and we'll have to just improve on and fix and focus. But in the end, it's us. We've got to be better. We can't. Tulane hurt us just like Tulsa hurt us. Was those live ball turnovers? They both scored a lot of points off of turnovers and second chance points. So we got to take care of the basketball. We can't be turning it over, especially in the live ball situation, and we've got to limit them to one shot.
I would imagine there's no scenario, though, where you feel like your team should be down by 28 to Tulsa in the second half.
Yeah,
where their program stands.
Well, I mean, it's not as much that. I mean, I don't like being down 10-5. I mean, I don't like being down at all. Losing is, for me, it's awful, and I take it personal because you feel like you've really let the city down. And I've said it before. I think the agony of defeat for me, especially in coaching in this city, is something that I take it personal. When you lose, it's the worst of the worst, and because you've let a lot of people down. And when you win, there's nothing like the thrill of victory. But so to me, I'm not a big. There's no moral in losses for me. I mean, whether you lose by 1 or lose by 31, it doesn't matter. Because next morning you either got the W and or got the loss. And so I've never been ever like, even if we've won and played poorly, I'll take it any day of the week. So I don't care if it's 28, we lose by 1, win by 28 or win by 1. I just want to win the game. And so my sickness of the feeling of our loss would have been the same if it was a 1-point game all the way to the end. The same way. It's just I cannot stand losing, and like I said, I feel like when we do, I let the city down.
Didn't ask you last time at the tech. The tech that you had in the second half? What was that for? What was that?
I'll just, I don't.
Frustrations.
No, it was just just something that I disagreed with from the official on a comment. I disagree with the comment that the official made, and we'll just leave it at that.
Is there an advantage playing a team again this closely like you did with Tulane, not more than a couple of weeks apart?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. I mean, you just got to go. You got to go play Grant and get the job done, and try to just try to win the game. I'm got to try to go win the game. I mean, Tulane's a good team. They're sitting with us 4-3 in league play. I mean, obviously, they got the tiebreaker right now because they're 1-0 against us. So we got to go, play our rear ends off and try to win this game on Saturday.
You think you'll have to create your own energy Saturday in that big building that Merriman, obviously Tulane's probably not going to bring.
Well, I mean, I don't know what kind of crowd they'll have, but it's probably similar to with Hofheinz at Houston. You got to, but it doesn't matter if there's 100 people there, 1,000 people, 10,000, 20,000. We're going to have to play well. We're going to have to really play well, and that's important to go back to answer your question that you asked. I think Saturday will be a great opportunity to answer your question, but I personally believe we've gotten a lot better. Saturday will be a great opportunity if that was a test, to have that question on that test answered.
Do you talk to your guys at all about trying to maintain composure when things aren't going well? I know Calvin teed up. Treyshawn spent a lot of time on the day.
Yeah, well, Treyshawn's I said this last night, he's very, very talented. He's got tremendous potential, but takes himself out of his good play when he is focused on things that he cannot control. I don't know if Treyshawn's a guy that prays a lot. I make our team, we pray after every practice, but Treyshawn, and I've told him this, he needs to, if he could recite the Serenity Prayer daily, it would be really good for him. And I say that seriously. And as we all could. I mean, I need it as much as anybody, but it'd be good for him, because if he could just lock in on channeling that energy on the court and focusing on his play, he's really, really good. It's when he gets worried about other things that he can't control, and which goes into the Serenity Prayer, that takes him off balance, off kilter, and he doesn't perform at the level that we need him to perform at. So Calvin's situation, that was just, he got in some foul trouble, and him and the other young man just got tangled up a little bit. But both technicals were deserved, meaning that the refs called the right technicals on both guys. So I had, and Treyshawn, I sat him after that because I just didn't feel mentally he was locked in on that. But both technical fouls on the players were, the guys deserve to get the technical fouls, and they've got to be better about that. And that's not something that they got to control their, especially TB. He's got to control his emotions. He's got to channel that energy the right way.
The comment that the official made, is it something he said about the team or something he said about you? Or can you tell us a little more?
Just, I have great respect for officials, and I have great respect for officials. I think they do a great job, and I know they have a hard job. It's not an easy job, and it's just us part of the game is just those guys are human beings, and and last night's crew, I thought, had nothing to do with why we didn't win the game. We lost the game because Tulsa beat us. Had nothing to do with the officiating, absolutely whatsoever. So, but it was just it was nothing more than a minor disagreement from my end, and that was it. But like I said, I have great respect for all officials for officiating, and I know how hard their job is. And last night's game, we lost the game because Tulsa beat us. Had nothing to do whatsoever with the officiating, whatsoever. Strictly because Tulsa beat us. Good try, though.
Based on your track record with technical fouls, I imagine you're not a guy that thinks getting one could kind of spark your team or get something.
I didn't do it to spark the team. it was just I'm not into like I do not curse. I do not use any foul language, and I don't want to ever. And I do the very best I can never to put it to be disrespectful to an official, because I respect those guys. I know how hard they work and the job they do, and I have great respect for them. And but sometimes things just it's an energy game, and that's just part of it. And that's just I know people want me to get texts and this and that, and I'm not a huge believer in that, because if it's a close game and then you end up losing by 1 point or 2 and they hit the 2 free throws, look, officials are human. And if officials allow a coach to treat them disrespectfully and use foul language, and then they get calls, the other team gets calls because of it, then that official would have to look him or herself in the mirror and say, is that really the principal thing that I should be doing? I believe the majority of officials out there, all 99.9999% of them, would not give someone a call if someone was treating them disrespectfulness and using foul language and being disrespectful to them. I don't think that's the right way to treat another human being, whether that's an official or not.